deck. This is probably going to be a whole week's worth of revision. Let me show y'all. This is probably the biggest painting I've done since I've been in Nola. And I did these on the plywood that they leave behind when they fix up the houses. And I had all these boards and they were in separate pieces, but I kind of linked them together. They started out separate. But this one was my first rendition of, let's say, a summary of New Orleans when I first got here the first year and I got settled in for a minute. Very magical place. The history, the culture, it's very rich, it's very deeply rooted when we're talking about New Orleans. And I sat down and did this one in about a week and a half. And all these images are accounts or what I would say, what you would call notes. I took notes. And this is how I take notes. That's how I did it in school. That's how I passed my test. I would draw and I would get the lesson inside the drawing. I would never forget it. But just to break it down, this was like when the animals started showing up really strong. Different animals, the gators, the birds, um, the fairies were up here, all this magical stuff was behind the physical world. And I noticed how the spirit would spill into it. So it was like the flooding of New Orleans, right? And, things pop up. There's a little bit behind this I had to show too. It's really long. But she's real. She was I guess homeless at the time when I came up here. Beautiful sister, but she used to talk to herself a lot out in front of the store, and that's when I realized that she was actually channeling. A lot of people who are on the streets are not all crazy. Some of them are just people who have not had guidance in life on how to channel their abilities. But she was one of the first people that I noticed, and of course, all the cats. And what Spirit showed me about her was that she was actually royalty in the other realm. So I had this divide right here where she's actually getting her hair braided by the spirit realm on this side. But on this side, you would see her as somebody who was homeless, right? So that's how Spirit had me translate that. In the back here is the levees when they broke and everything spilled over. Of course, you got the houses of New Orleans, the church, blah, blah, blah. But how the spirits would come and bring blessings to those people in the waters. Now, this guy, his name is Mike. And I met Mike my first year down here. He was a guy lived in the neighborhood. He used to walk back and forth in front of the house, always had a brown bag, but his features were so deeply rooted. Like you could tell he came from a tribe, you know what I'm saying? And I saw that part of him, if you will, that we would see. But when I look further into that kind of history, I saw who he was or who he would be in the other realm or in a different timeline. He was like a chief. This guy looked like a chief, you know what I'm saying? The cheekbones, the features, the accent, and that kind of carried over into back into the spirit realm as it would. Maybe the tree of life here, pregnancy, the natural wonders of the world, blah, blah, blah. So I titled this one um, Passing Through. And it's a reminder that we are here for a short amount of time to experience life. And a lot of us are here to, experience what it is to be a human. Passing through, there it is. And I'll show you the rest because there's more of the story of New Orleans behind this. But it's, we start in the spiritual realm and then we come here and we learn and we go through hardships. We appear to be a certain way to the rest of the world, but who we really are, especially when we get back into the spirit realm, is something else, right? Based on our lineage, the cultures we come from. And let me pull this part out because there's a lot more of the story behind Mike. So that's Mike right there, right? Now the thing about New Orleans, that oops, sorry about that. The thing about New Orleans is, the big thing is the levees. And when you talk about Katrina down here, you'll get a whole different story. What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday to you as well. Hope y'all doing well. The levees and the flooding, the drains. But what it revealed was there's so much hidden history. Like there's a whole city underneath of what we call New Orleans. It's covered up, and the things that aren't covered up were used. Like the architecture, you can tell was just way more advanced than the French or the Spanish were capable of. You can still see it even on the railings of some of these older buildings, the shotgun homes and all that. But this is like the house that I lived across the street from, and it was very indicative of New Orleans because you'll see them everywhere. Um, the flood, when it tore everything up, the hurricane, there's so many homes that weren't rebuilt, and there were so many people that were missing and went homeless and had to live on the streets. So this is a testament to their story. But if you look here, this is part of that remnant that kind of popped up, like this ancient statue. You would, this area, we're at the top of the tropics, as it is. And this area has so much of that Atlantean feel underneath of it that, you could turn a corner and you'll just be in a whole nother dimension, basically. You know what I'm saying? It just happens like that. And I get a lot of channels, especially when I'm riding my bike, which is one of the reasons I had the spirit come through like this. And of course, this is like a Baron Samni kind of figure coming through with those blessings. He's got water, I guess holy water, but he's got the beads from Mardi Gras. So I wanted to keep that essence as well. So this is the entirety of this painting. And what I'm going to do now is update it. Because I've been here for 2 years since I started this and figured that I finished it. And I want to add more to the story. So this is going to be the week project that I'm going to dive into and really get back to channeling the spirit of New Orleans and everything. And also, if you check in the community section, I got card decks still available, as you can see down there, if you like to purchase card decks. And commissioned works, if you want commissioned work, somebody's going to come grab those sooner than later. Those are the seekers I did, and they're on the post as well. But New Orleans, there's so much behind it all. So many untold stories, even the street names. You'll see a street name called the Arts, music, pleasure. You know what I'm saying? A street called Seer. Right down the way, there's a street called Humanity, and there's no street there. It's just a sign, and that's because they built the 610 over top of it, and it shows you just how much has been taken away from the community as it is by colonialism, colonizing, commercial. Um, and that's where all the homeless people sleep now, are under the two bridges, the 610 and the 6. You'll find tents out there all day long. But I wanted to honor those people as well because, it's like almost a forgotten history. It seems like everything is getting pushed away for this modern world of technology. And we got all the goods. We got so many new colors I want to add to the richness of this. And if you've never been to New Orleans, it's a place of deep transformation. It is a Scorpio city. If you're not aware, every city has a birth date, and this is a Scorpio city, which represents, of course, sex, death, and resurrection, as it were. This is definitely the energy, especially if you go to places like Bourbon Street, you will see a lot of that sex and death. You know what I'm saying? um, parties, but everywhere you go, from Jackson Square to Congo Square to the quarters and the lakes by the river, you'll feel it. And I tell everybody that comes here, you don't come for the glit and the glamour. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? What you're coming here for is to shed old skin. This is a place where you're reborn if you allow it. Leave a piece of yourself as like an offering, and you shed that skin, and you're reborn when you leave. You'll leave with an experience that's changed your life if you allow it to. So this is my update of New Orleans, basically in a nutshell. And we're going to get back to telling more of that story. I'm going to bring more of the highlight of these experiences I've had out here. Just riding around and talking to people, you'll get such a different perspective, especially on that Katrina thing. You know, so many people went missing and were never heard from again, and it wasn't because of the storm. You'll hear a lot of accounts of, you know, the army coming through here and taking people out is one of the stories you'll hear. You know what I'm saying? People with bullet holes to the head, and that's why a lot of the elders are gone. Like it was such a detriment to the city because so much of the people who were a part of the culture just went missing. You know what I mean? So much of what made New Orleans special just went missing. And some people will even tell you that the levees didn't break, that they were imploded, kind of like the World Trade Center. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of, you know, I guess mixed accounts of Katrina, and they celebrated that 20-year anniversary last year with the, especially at the Ashe Center with the Ma'afa event, which I was blessed to be a part of artistically. They had a couple of my pieces up for that event, and you'd hear the accounts from people firsthand who were here. You know what I'm saying? The nurses, the doctors, the things that they were seeing, and it paints quite a story. So that's what I've got. I'd love to hear anybody else's experience if you've ever been here or what you think. About, you know, because this really goes into the current state of where we're at and what's going on in the world as it is. We have a lot of this erasure of culture, purposely done. And what's special about this place is the gumbo. And I mean, by the cultural integration, there's so much of each culture down here that you really can't miss. If you go to the right place, you're going to find yourself. And the fact that I didn't do this on canvas means everything, because these are the boards that they use to board up the homes after Katrina. You know what I'm saying? You would find these boards everywhere. So for me, it was like a transmutation of that energy. Taking something that was such a tragedy, really, and making something better. Straight to the ancestors. Let's get it. We're gonna really clean this bad boy up. And I'm hoping by at least next Friday we'll have a finished piece, or at least updated. You know what I'm saying? An updated piece. So this is basically my book report. And we're gonna move around. There's a lot of work to be done. So we're gonna be moving around a little bit. And I never did find out who she was. But after maybe, I guess about 3 months, she kind of just went missing. You know, she was there 1 minute and then she disappeared. But you could tell she was just tapped in, but just didn't know how to kind of process her experience. I would see her all over the place, in these strange places, you know what I mean? All over the 7th Ward, which is where I first took residence down here. And the 7th Ward itself has quite a history behind it. But you're not going to get that history in the pamphlets and the brochures and the tours. You got to talk to the people who were here when it happened. And also the cats. The cats are a big part of the culture. It's almost a ritual that people put food out for the cats as an offering. And what one of my mentors told me, because this was a Catholic city, a cat holistic city, which is um, what ties it really back to ancient Egypt with the cats. The history goes that when the last of the temples, you know, the island of Pele, the Temple of Isis, were some of the last temples to be ransacked and burned, the priests cut out their tongues so that they couldn't, even if they wanted to, give up the secrets. And they fed them to the cats. So it's said that the cats hold all the secrets. So if you're in New Orleans ever and you see a cat, throw them a little something. Well, I guess that was too much for the average layman, but that's all right. I just wanted to document this. Matter of fact, we got a cat out front. It's been here for about 2 years. And originally I first started feeding it. And then we kind of like took um, shifts feeding it. Now it's my roommate takes care of him now. And that cat has been like a bit of a guardian to the house. Like we had a mouse problem last year, and once the cat came in, they went away. But that's it. And the thing about it, the effects of that are still seen. There is a lot of mental health issues in New Orleans. And we're like last in the country in almost everything as far as social services. I went to see a pastor today that I had met at Congo Square. She invited me over to the church. They do they hand out meals on Thursday and Sunday, and she was interested in all things of getting a deck. So I brought her a deck. And there was some guy out there flipping out. Somebody had busted his nose right across here, cut his ear, and he had these shorts on. He had no drawers on, no shirt, and the drawstring was broke, so he was pulling them up, but he was on 10. He was on 100, excuse me. Talking about somebody that stole his $4. And it's just another day in Nola. And one thing that's really big here is the bike culture, which is why I chose the bikes. Every Tuesday we do a ride along about 100 or so people. It's pretty big. Uh, we get on bikes and we ride around the city. And do it big. Some people got their things hooked up. I'm talking lights and speakers and everything. Some people put their dogs in the baskets. And every other person got like a huge speaker hooked into their bike. And the saying is, watch out for them hoes or them holes, because the city streets out here are unbelievably um, just worn to death. I dare you to ride a bike at night in Nola on a dark street that you don't know. So that's the story of this painting and its conception. Like I said, we're gonna move around a bit. I'm sorry, the Spanish moss. And the native cultures used it for weaving. It's really strong. But it said that when the colonizers came here, there was a Native American princess who was left for dead under the tree, and her hair became the moss, Spanish moss. So this is how I do my homework. Thank you. Y'all missed the spill in the beginning. Um, I gave some of the history behind this and why I painted it. This is a kind of like what I did on my summer vacation, book report of New Orleans, and what I've learned since I've been here. And give me a second, I'll show you the entire piece. But the churches are really big. A lot of them were here before the settlers or the colonizers even came. You'll hear a lot of that Tartarian architecture. The most recent one was the Ursuline nuns, which is they got a street named after them right up the way. But this is where people would incorporate their culture into the Catholic system so they could practice their native religion, if you will. So you'll find Orishas with archangels, you know what I mean? Two things you'll never find in New Orleans: a basement. You'll never find a basement, and all the graves all of them are above ground because of the flooding and the water that comes through. So tonight I'm updating the book report. started again. That's a good start, though. That's a real good start. So let's look at it real quick. Yeah, Mike looks a lot better. And so does that background. But hopefully it won't take too long to get it all together. Most of the groundwork is done. I'm just going to add some particulars. All right. So that'll be it for tonight. We'll be back, of course, all week working on this one. I might pull another one out that I was looking at earlier, but